Hi everyone, I wanted to check in with you guys now that you've sort of worked through Module 1 and you've gotten to know each other and sort of gotten to know some of the expectations of the course. I wanted to give you guys sort of a walkthrough of what you can expect over the next sort of week and a half as you work through Modules 2 and 3. Now, with Modules 2 and 3, they are separate because they're on sort of two different topics, but they're somewhat grouped together because both topics are on the smaller side when it comes to things we're learning about in class. And so we actually have like one combined quiz for them, even though they're sort of separate modules. Now, as you sort of get into these learning modules, it is somewhat self-paced, but there are due dates along the way. If you sort of see a general setup to these modules, you'll notice that initially we have sort of a section entitled Learn the Math. And so in each module, there'll be sort of different things within this section. Often there will be videos. There will sometimes be PowerPoint presentations that you get to look through. Other times there are actual activities that you should walk through that have some video support with them. But basically those activities are there to help you learn the content. So here in the covariation module 2 stuff, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, I would highly recommend that you go through, watch these videos, maybe take some notes on them. They're going to really introduce you to some of these big ideas that we're going to be working with throughout this semester. And then when you click ahead next, you're going to be linked, let me get the right next button, you're going to be linked to more, this is just sort of a PowerPoint. It walks through some examples. So again, another good place that, maybe I'm jotting down some ideas to myself, like what should I be keeping in mind? And so this is to help you sort of learn about the topic. If we keep sort of working through this module 2, you'll notice that the next thing is our check your understandings. And you should have heard about these from all the advice of the previous math students. These are your practice problems. Now, I don't take these for grades, but it's really important you do them. And the best way to do these check your understandings is, take a PDF or Word document, whichever form works better for you, attempt all of the problems. So try them out, see what you can get, maybe circle or star ones you're not sure about. And then when you've hit a point where you're like, okay, I think I've done what I can do, I need some help on the rest of them. Or I tried them all, I want to see how I did. And so the next assignment within this module, you'll notice, is the solutions. And in this particular one for module 2, there's only video solutions on the first 2 questions. And that's partly because if you go and you look ahead at the remaining problems within the CYU, there are some very detailed solutions. And they're also very similar to some of the problems you would have seen in the lessons. And so there is a PDF that has sort of worked out solutions for you. You can sort of check your work. You can see how you're doing. If you feel good and confident enough, then great. You can move on to sort of the next thing. And that's really my sort of checkpoint of, did you learn what you need to learn? And this is your notes and reflection assignment. And we're going to have this in each module. And basically, it's a 3-part assignment. So part 1 is asking you to just sort of take some notes. And within those notes, I'm looking for sort of 3 things. 1, what are the big ideas, vocab formulas from this lesson? Like, what should you walk away with? What are the definitions you should know? Like, sort of general overview stuff. The second thing is an annotated example. So that would be like a practice problem. Maybe it's from your CYU, maybe it's from one of the PowerPoints, but it's a problem that's sort of worked out. And when I say annotated, you've made notes to help you remember how to do the problem. So that if I look back at my notes like a month from now, I understand what I was thinking when I sort of wrote this down. And then last but not least, just sort of any other sort of information that doesn't fit in the above 2 categories. So with these notes, you have a choice. You can use your own notebook paper. I'm fine with that, as long as you're fine with that. The key is these notes need to be handwritten, not screenshots from my presentations. There is research that shows the actual act of writing down stuff helps you remember it. If you want, I also have a sort of template here that you can use. And you could, digitally fill in if you want. And it's pretty basic. You fill in the module and what topic it is. What are my big ideas? There's my worked example. here's my other information. And then you'll notice the pop spot here for reflection questions. That is because part 2 of this assignment is to actually do some self-reflection. This is another good learning strategy. It's to stop and think about, what am I doing well with? What am I not doing well with? What maybe do I need to change? And so to help make your reflection more meaningful, I'm giving you 5 different questions to choose from. And I'm asking you to just pick 2 of them to answer, and you need at least 2 sentences. So like a really thought through answer. So like NA is not acceptable. If you wrote NA, then you need to find a different question to answer, because some of them are like, yes, I struggled with this. Some of them are like, no, this was way easy. I felt really good because, or, just give yourself a rating. Like, I'm feeling about here on this because. And so there is a little bit of self-reflection here. And we're going to have that every module. And normally it's going to be these 5 questions. Occasionally I will make a note in Canvas, be aware your reflection questions are a little different this week, because before tests or quizzes, I might ask a more specific question of you. And then last but not least is, what questions do you have about this module? Please be specific when you're asking these questions, because I do go through and read them all and I like to give you replies. But if you ask something really general, like, this whole module is on covariation, and you're like, I don't get what is covariation? I'm going to be like, that's a way too broad question for me to answer. Sometimes it could be on a CYU question. It could be like, I'm really still not sure about how to do number 3 on the CYU. Or I don't get how the example in the PowerPoint on slide 3 got there. Something like that. And I will take the time to write you all a response. I try and get those answered before you have to take your module quiz. So I try and get a pretty quick reply on those. It's one of my ways that I can communicate you, and you can ask a question, directly to me, and I do see them. So that wraps up module 2, and these notes are actually due on Friday this week. Now, moving into module 3, so I'm going to click back to my home screen. Module 3 has a similar setup. This time we're looking at periodic functions, but there's a few extra assignments due within our module 3. So you'll notice this time module 3 actually has what I refer to as a learning activity. So it's not a PowerPoint, it's a sort of packet of problems that were written, and they were designed to sort of help walk you through this topic of periodic functions and sort of learn about periodic functions. And so, there are solutions posted, there's PDFs, and it's sort of a, you work through what you need to work through. And then I might take some of these ideas and put them onto my note sheet for this module. You'll also see, in addition to this activity, just like with the last module, there are videos. Some of these videos are working through the periodic function activity. Some of these videos are, just sort of more generic, like what is a periodic function. And that sort of is to help you learn the material. And then just like with the last module, you will see we have our Check Your Understanding. It does have a due date in Canvas. I'm not collecting it, but you really want to do these CYUs. And then on the next slide, you will notice that there are the CYU solutions. And I do have a warning in the solution video. The video is incorrect for number 3, but the solution PDF should be correct. It was an error on my fault. I did not read the table carefully enough, and so made a mistake, and I fixed it in one place, and I haven't quite gotten to fixing the video yet. But once you've done those CYUs, there's then 2 assignments due on Tuesday next week that deal with Module 3. The first is a note assignment. Just like the notes for Module 2, you're going to be sort of summarizing your big ideas, including an example, reflecting on your learning. And that's your Module 3 notes and reflection. But we also have a discussion board. This is sort of our way of engaging together and learning from each other within this class. Now, this particular discussion question involves topics from both Module 3 and Module 2. And you're going to be making an initial post on by Tuesday. And so we have a question here, and you basically are being asked to sketch a graph that will be a periodic function. And using some of our rates of change language we learn about in our covariation module. This post will be just shared with the people in your discussion groups. And once people have posted, you'll be asked to reply to other people's posts. And this particular one gives you a specific thing I'm looking for in your reply. You'll also get a chance to correct your original post. Your discussion questions will be graded for correctness, so you want to sort of make sure they're correct. Now, this is where like you're going to give each other feedback, like, yeah, you did a great job on this. No, I disagree. It should have X, Y, and Z. And in looking at other people's answers, you should get a sense of, I think I was on the right track. No, I don't think I was. And periodically, I will give hints with the discussion questions if I sort of take a glance and I notice that we're all off. But generally, the goal of these is you are learning from each other. All right, and so the initial post for this is due on Tuesday, and that reply follow-up post will be due on Friday. And I'll send out some more information about the discussion questions next week. The other new assignment you're going to see in this module that you didn't see in your previous modules is a module quiz. These module quizzes are sort of your checkpoints, like how am I doing on this information? Do I understand what I'm doing? And with questions that are similar to questions you're going to see on your midterm, on your final, on your quests. And so it's right here. It's a limited time, so you don't get like unlimited time, but it is Open Notes, Open Canvas, just not Open Tutor. And it is due Friday. And you'll notice that right below it, I have a module 2 and 3 quiz solutions, because the day following the quiz being due, I will post video solutions and written solutions to the quiz questions, so you can sort of go back and see, ooh, I totally messed up there, or I wasn't sure how to do those questions. With the quizzes, don't stress a ton if you didn't do great on this first quiz. We have a bunch of them throughout the semester, but also when we get to our first quest, our sort of first exam, if you do better on that exam and you show me that you've mastered this material from modules 2 and 3, you've learned from your mistakes, I do replace quiz grades. So the goal here is that we're learning the material. And as usual, if you have any questions at all, or you're confused about something, or you're not sure what an assignment is, please, please, please reach out to me. I am here for you. And happy learning.